So you want to play a warrior in classic World of Warcraft. It won't be easy, and it might not be fun in the beginning, but oh my, is it nice at endgame. This may surprise you to hear, but Vanilla WoW wasn't exactly the most balanced game. Do you want a DPS as a druid? You better work hard, and you'll never do impressive numbers. Druid isn't the only class like this, but guess what? Warriors were the gods of raiding. A Fury Warrior in a raid was an almost unbeatable force, with rogues and mages being the only classes that could challenge their DPS. How about PvP? Without a pocket healer, it may be difficult, but make no mistake, a warrior can definitely hold their own in PvP. But that isn't why I'm here. Want to get to that end game raiding and PvP? Well, you have to level first. Leveling as a warrior can be brutally painful in the early levels, but smooths out a bit after reaching level 30 and getting your whirlwind weapon, assuming you're lucky enough to get one at such a low level. Your first levels may not be too difficult, as the game is tuned for classes to have almost no utility. But coming up on level 10, you might notice that difficulty quickly ramps up. You will begin to notice that almost every fight with a mob at or above your level is a close fight, and you might be wondering whether you'll be looting the corpse or running back to your own. There are very few things that can be done to help you when leveling a warrior, but that said, there are still some that should be noted. It is good to have a slow, heavy-hitting two-handed weapon, and use a method I call the hamstring method. You can begin using the hamstring method at level 8 when you first train for rank 1 hamstring. It is also useful to have an add-on that tracks your auto attacks and gives you a timer for your next swing. I will have a link in the description to an add-on I use called Attack Bar Timer, or as I call it, A-Bar. The reason you want an add-on like this is because you'll be kiting your target around and only enter attacking distance while your auto attack is ready. Using the hamstring method, you can reduce the damage you take by a fair amount by ensuring that for every swing that you take, only one attack is made towards your character. This method is most useful against beasts with normal speed and humanoids that don't have ranged abilities. This method will reduce your downtime, allowing you to level a lot faster and more efficiently. Now let's get into the rotation using the hamstring method. You want to start the fight with a charge and a single swing to get you enough rage for your first hamstring. After this, you can run out of the enemy's attack range until your next auto attack is ready. On this next auto attack, you should be able to squeeze a rend in as you run by your target. You can easily do this without getting the facing the wrong direction message by jumping and rotating your character mid-jump. After rend is up, you can use battle shout once you have enough rage. Assuming you haven't missed a swing, you should be able to get both rend and battle shout in before the hamstring effect runs out. After reapplying hamstring, you can either reapply rend or begin using heroic strike. If your target dodges your attack, I would not suggest ignoring your auto attack timer to get the overpower in. Instead, you can usually use overpower right before your next auto attack, and if you don't, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Now let's get into talents. You'll mainly be putting your talents into arms until level 40, and then fury from level 40 to 60. You will want to put your first 3 talents into improved rend for the extra bleed damage. After that, you can put 2 points into either deflection or improved heroic strike. I choose deflection as I don't use heroic strike very often. Moving down the tree, you want to put your next 2 points into improved charge to increase the rage generated from charge and allow you to use the hamstring method more efficiently. After that, 3 points into tactical mastery is nice to retain rage when changing stances. Moving on, we want to put 2 points into improved overpower for the increased critical strike chance of overpower, and 3 points into deep wounds, both to unlock impale in the next tier, and to simply add to your damage with bleeds. In the next tier, you want to put 2 points into impale to increase your critical strike damage by 20%. Next, you will want to put 3 points into two-handed weapon specialization to increase your damage by 3% with two-handed weapons. Moving down the tree, put 1 point into sweeping strikes. Sweeping strikes really helps for fighting multiple mobs, especially when paired with whirlwind. After that, you want to move back to two-handed weapon specialization and put 2 points into that. Moving back to the 5th tier in the tree, put 5 points into axe, mace, sword, or polearm specialization, depending on what weapon you use. You can really put your next 2 points into whatever you choose, as we simply need to unlock Mortal Strike now. I put my 2 points into deflection for the added parry chance. Finally, at level 40 you can get Mortal Strike. Moving over to the Fury tree from level 40 to 60, you will want to put 5 points into Cruelty for the increased critical strike chance, and then 5 points into Booming Voice to increase the duration of your shouts. Next, I put 1 point into Piercing Howl as it helps to get out of situations where you pull too many mobs. But if you are confident in yourself, then you can put all 5 points into Improved Battle Shout. Otherwise, put 1 into Piercing Howl and 4 into Improved Battle Shout. Next, put 2 points into Improved Execute to reduce the rage cost of Execute. And finally, 3 points into Enrage, increasing your melee damage by 15% after being the victim of a critical strike. With your specialization and rotation settled, you're almost ready to go. Just a few tips before we go though. It is useful and well advised to buy gear, especially a new weapon, every few levels to stop yourself from becoming too weak. It is also very good to have a friend. Groups are extremely useful in leveling a warrior, and you can end up really enjoying the leveling when you aren't worrying about nearly dying during every fight. I generally like to avoid quests when leveling a warrior, as most quests put you against multiple mobs at once, or just into risky situations. If you grind most of your way to level 60, it may take some time, but it will be a lot less stressful. Just find a good spot and grind away to your heart's content. Thank you guys for watching this guide. I hope that it helped you in some way, and for those of you that it didn't, feel free to ask me anything that I didn't cover in the comments and I'll try to answer your questions.